Now at 11, a military hero returns home for the final time. Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson ambushed in Western Africa. Tonight, his grieving family prepares for his funeral, and South Florida delivers a final salute.
A heart-wrenching tribute for that young father, his widow pregnant with their third child.
And as she just begins to think about her life without him, a local congresswoman says that Mrs. Johnson is livid about a call she got from President Trump. We're covering several angles of this story tonight, beginning with CBS 4's Carey, who's live in Hollywood. Carey.
Rick, the body of Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson is in this funeral home here this evening. Services will be held in the coming days, and the image of his grieving pregnant wife draped over his coffin today is an image no one will soon forget. Myeshia Johnson did what any grieving military spouse would do. She wept over the casket of her husband, Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson. With the couple's eldest child by her side, Myeshia poured forth a torrent of tears, grieving the loss of the man she considered her soulmate, a man she met in Miami Gardens at the age of 6 and who would one day become her husband. Sergeant Johnson died earlier this month when his Special Forces unit was ambushed by terrorists in Niger, as Johnson and other U.S. military were meeting with local leaders and advising and training them on dealing with terrorists. Johnson became separated from the group, and his body was found 2 days later. A Delta flight carrying his body arrived at Miami International shortly before 5 p.m. Tuesday. Miami-Dade firefighters gave the aircraft a water cannon salute. As his casket came off the airplane, military, law enforcement, firefighters, and everyone in view stopped and paid their respects to a fallen hero. His wife, children, aunt, and uncle who raised him, and other family and friends watched and grieved the loss of a young man with a bright and limitless future. Then came the powerful and heartbreaking moment when a wife is faced with the realization that her husband, who always promised to come back home to her and their family, would never do so again. Local politicians who attended the ceremony praised Sergeant Johnson as a leader and a man worthy of our admiration, evidenced by the police and firefighters who paid their respects as his hearse drove past them. The hearse arrived with Sergeant Johnson's body at a funeral home in Hollywood late Tuesday.
This young man needed every honor that we could possibly bestow on him.
A lot of them make it back, but some don't. And we're here to recognize a hero that gave his life for this country and for this community.
Last week, I interviewed Myeshia. She spoke of the love she and LaDavid shared and the life they built together. Her words then are appropriate now.
It's just heartbreaking and devastating because I don't know what I'm gonna do without him. He was just everything to us.
Myeshia Johnson told me that her husband planned to dedicate his career to the Army. He rose through the ranks quickly, becoming a sergeant in just 3 years. Live in Hollywood, Carey, CBS 4 News Tonight.